Okay. Hopefully the microphone is on. Oh my god, I just recorded over 30 minutes and I didn't realize that the audio went haywire. My goodness. Well, that was 30 minutes of my life that I'm not getting back. Okay. So yeah, welcome back again to my game vlog. Again, my name is Rano Game Guy or RGGStriker for short. Hopefully, you guys will hear my audio and I am not running my mouth again with. I hope my audio is on right now. I'm really going to have a headache if the audio recording is not on. Ah, okay, so right now, I was going to say in the previous video, but I'm going to say I'm going to record on my current video how to use the Dinomorphia deck, and this is how you build it. I'm going to leave my deck list on the description so you can check it out in the right after the video, or you can check it out during the video. It would really be appreciated if you can stay and watch. It would truly go a long way. I know this is too early in the video, but I hope you guys are doing a great day wherever you are in the world, and hopefully you guys will have a classy day, evening, or morning. Either way, I hope you guys stay classy. So, right now, I'm going to explain the archetype of the Dinomorphia deck. Uh, the Dinomorphia is actually an extreme deck that runs using recycling these two monsters, the Dinomorphia Therizia and Diplos, and you'll be running your life points down the drain really quick like. I'll get to that in a moment, but I hope you guys will be able to hear my audio. Above all things. I wish the Xbox game recorder can actually record this game. Turn off microphone. Certain. Uh, okay, I hope you guys can hear me because I'm trying to test my audio and I'm going to have a headache after this. Okay, so yeah, um, right now I'm going to provide a brief explanation on what cards I use for this deck, which I found very effective, which helped me climb to gold 5, but I am going to modify this deck down the line because this deck, believe it or not, is actually not complete yet. Okay, so right now I'm running one copy of Babycerasaurus, one copy of uh, Petiteranodon. Pteranodon. I'm having trouble speaking with running my words. God. Okay, I run also one copy of Scrap Chimera, two copies of Miscellaneousaurus. This is actually a very helpful card to get the specific cards that you need out in the field, and it can actually protect you while you're trying to cook your using spells or cards. I mean, I never really got into the details of this card's effect, but I'll leave it on the screen for you guys to read, so you can pause the video at any time you want. So, but I am recommending this card to be used. I got some general ideas from other streaming YouTube accounts, and they really did recommend Miscellaneousaurus. So if they're recommending it, I'm recommending it as well. Going back to the deck, after you run two Miscellaneousaurus, I also have two copies of oviraptor, two copies of Scrap Raptor. Normally for this particular deck, I don't run tuners according to other YouTube channels, but for this one, I am running it specifically to have Dinomorphia Giga Spinosavate and Barron De Fleur. I also have three copies of Therizia, and this is where the deck truly shines. If this card is normal or special summon, you can set one Dinomorphia trap directly from your deck to your spell and trap zone, and then if you have 2000 or less life points, this card will gain 500 back. If this card is destroyed by battle, this is where the Dinomorphia truly shines. If this card is destroyed by battle, you can banish one trap card from your graveyard, special summon one level 4 or lower Dinomorphia monster from your graveyard, except the Dinomorphia Therizia. You can only use this card's effect once per turn. Then you can run the tandem card for this deck, which is Diplos. Just like the Dinomorphia Therizia, once you special summon or normal summon this card, you can send one Dinomorphia trap card from your deck to your graveyard. Then, if you have 2000 life points or less, inflict 500 damage to your opponent. Just like before, if this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish one trap card from your graveyard, special summon one level 4 or lower Dinomorphia monster from your graveyard, and this can only be used once per turn. So basically, Dinomorphia Therizia and Diplos will actually run each other, but the only downside there is if you have fuel to throw into the fire. And about the monsters here in this deck, I run 2 copies of Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. This is actually a backup boss monster if in case your entire extra deck has been sent to the graveyard or to the banish zone. So this card can actually be very helpful. Then I have Lord of the Heavenly Prison. So during your main phase, you can activate this card in your hand, becomes revealed until the end of your opponent's turn. While this card is revealed by this effect, set cards on the field cannot be destroyed by card effects. If a spell / trap card is activated except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand. Then if you activated this effect while this card is revealed, you can reveal one spell or trap card directly from your deck, but banish it during the end phase of the next turn. You can only use one discard effect once per turn, so it can be really handy to pump out Frenzy, Sonic, Shell, Brute, Alert, and Domain, or even Reversion if that's what you're going for. Going back a little bit for the Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, this card can actually serve as a backup monster if in case your entire back row was your entire extra deck zone was destroyed or sent to the graveyard or banished. You cannot special summon normal summon this card. You can only special summon it by tributing 2 dinosaur monsters from your graveyard. Once per turn during the main phase, you can activate this card's effect. You can destroy one monster in your hand or field, and if you do, change all face-up monsters your opponent controls to face-down defense position. This card can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each at the start of the damage step. If this card attacks a defense position monster, you can inflict 1000 damage to your opponent, and if you do, send that defense position monster to the graveyard. This actually became very handy when I was in a bit of a bind when all my extra deck cards are on the graveyard. But I can't really say for certain if I could be wrong here. When this card was on the field, I wiped out my opponent's entire monster zone, but I couldn't attack my opponents directly, so I think I could be wrong here, but I can't really say for sure, so take it with a grain of salt. Now for the spell cards, I run 2 copies of Fossil Dig, which adds 1 level 6 or lower monster from your deck to your hand, so you can either search Oviraptor, Scrap Raptor. But I would really advise to go for Therizia and Miscellaneousaurus because these two cards can actually be very helpful when you need it the most. And then I run 2 copies of Phantom Duality. I find this card very handy at times, but when I run this deck, especially with these cards, I don't advise anyone to use this card while you're cooking up your combo. Use it after you have cooked your combo because the only downside of this card is that you cannot use this card you cannot special summon after this card is activated. After that, I run 2 copies of Lost World. As it states, all monsters in the field lose 500 attack and defense except dinosaur monsters. Once per turn, if a dinosaur monster is normal or special summon except during damage step, you can special summon 1 Jura Egg token to your opponent's field in defense position. While your opponent controls a token, they cannot target on monsters on the field with card effects except tokens. Once per turn, if a normal monster is on the field, would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can destroy that many monsters in your hand or deck instead. This is actually a very risky card to use because once you summon or special summon a dinosaur monster from your side of the field, it will basically be giving fuel for your opponent to either link, synchro, or fusion summon. Depends on you. But I don't really recommend this card unless it's absolutely necessary. But I kept it. This deck isn't complete yet, so I want to say that I want to run it, but I don't really recommend it. But I am running it just to cover my need for additional protection. For the traps, Ferret Flames, I can't believe this is a normal card. So Ferret Flames can actually help out, especially with the running effect of the Dinomorphia deck, where you have to pay half your life points. That's why I said earlier in the video that your life points will. I think I may have mentioned it in the previous video where the audio went to shame, but I will mention it again just for good measure. Ferret Flames, if the combined attack of all face-up monsters your opponent controls is higher than your life points, make your opponent shuffle face-up monsters they control into the deck. So if your life points is at the 500 mark, you will the entire board of your opponent will be sent to the deck or extra deck, and this is actually very helpful. So right now, after running the Ferret Flames, now here's where this deck truly shines. Dinomorphia Domain, I will cut this a little faster because this deck will actually have a recurring effect here. So, to start off, Dinomorphia Domain will ask you to pay half your life points, fusion summon 1 monster from your extra deck, using monsters from your hand, deck, or field as materials. But the other effect here, if your opponent activates a card or effect while your life points are 2000 or less, you can banish the trap card and you will not have to worry about paying your opponent affecting your life points. So this card can actually protect you, and once you reach that 2000 or less HP mark, life point mark, you won't have to worry about your opponent running you to the ground with opponent's effect monsters. So Dinomorphia Alert, 2 copies of it. Pay half your life points, special summon 2 Dinomorphia monsters from your graveyard whose total levels equal to 8 or less, but you cannot declare an attack during that turn. So once this card is on the field and you activate it, pay half of your life points to return Therizia Diplos, or even Kentragina and Stealthbergia, but you can only summon either one of them. So I would recommend to get Kentragina out as quickly as possible. Okay, so Dinomorphia Brute. Again, recurring effect. Destroy one monster from your side of the field and destroy one card your opponent controls. When your opponent activates a card or effect while your life points are 2000 or less, you can banish this card from your graveyard. You take no effect damage from your opponent. This card can actually help out get some of your cards out as quickly as possible, like either Therizia or Diplos. But the only downside, once this card destroys an opponent's card, it's not negated, so they can still run their effect. Now for the new support of this card, I think this was released about a few months ago. I could be wrong here. So Dinomorphia Frenzy, during your opponent's main phase, that's the key term for this card. Pay half your life points, fusion summon one Dinomorphia monsters from your extra deck using only one monster from your deck and one monster from your extra deck as fusion material. When your opponent activates a card or effect, you can pay 2000. You can, while your life points are 2000 or less, you can banish that card and you won't take any effect damage from your opponent. You can only use it once per turn. This card is actually your top priority to get out, but previously, from what I understood, you can get Dinomorphia Domain out, and Kentragina copies the effect of Domain, and then you can summon Stealthbergia. But because Dinomorphia Frenzy is actually a pretty great card to run, you can now run either Kentragina out, then Rexterm, and then Stealthbergia next. For the counter traps, I run 2 copies of Dinomorphia Shell, pay half of your life points at the start of your opponent's battle phase. You can special summon a token of with 3000 defense, and if you do during that turn, um, no, your opponents cannot attack any other monster except the token. And during damage calculation, while your 2000 points life points are 2000 or less, if you would take battle damage, you can banish this card from your graveyard and you take no battle damage. That's actually the difference between the Domain, Alert, Brute, and Frenzy. And then for Dinomorphia Sonic, this card is actually the magic drummer of this deck. Pay half your life points and then you negate one spell or trap card from your opponent. But once this card is on the graveyard, while your life points are 2000 or less, you can just banish this card and you take no battle damage. And Dinomorphia Reversion is actually a little different from the other counter traps. So, if you have a Dinomorphia fusion monster, pay half your life points and banish one counter trap from your graveyard, and this effect becomes that counter trap. So, if you have its necessary requirements, you can copy either Shell or Sonic, but I would strongly advise to copy Sonic because with your opponents running so many spell effects, it's actually much better to have Sonic up. Once this card is in the graveyard, you can banish it while your life points are 2000 or less. You take no battle damage. So yeah, that's actually the key of the trap cards for Dinomorphia. Now for the extra deck. Now we'll go for my ace monster and my waifu. Dinomorphia Kentragina. You just need to tribute 2 Dinomorphia monsters with different names using the Domain and Frenzy, and you will be able to summon her out in the field. You can only use one of Kentragina's effects per turn. During the main phase, you can copy any normal trap card normal Dinomorphia trap card in your graveyard, and this card's effect will become that card's effect. So I would strongly advise to copy Frenzy. So you once Kentragina is out, after you use Dinomorphia Frenzy, you can get Rexterm out as quickly as possible. Uh, I don't recommend to summon Stealthbergia out of your extra deck, because the only downside between those two cards, I'll make a comparison in a moment, but you will see this here on the first line. Dinomorphia Kentragina loses attack equal to your opponent's life, equal to your life points. So if you run Kentragina and you have 2,000 points already, and you choose to run Stealthbergia, this card will not allow you to take any more life points, because it will actually negate the effect of the Dinomorphia deck, that you won't have to pay for your half your life points every time you use a Dinomorphia trap card effect or a Dinomorphia fusion monster effect. So I would recommend that you run at least maybe 500 life points or less, or maybe less than 1,000 life points for good measure. At least that way your Kentragina will have the 3,000 life points or more. These two has a similar effect here, that after you, if these two cards are to be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can summon one level 4 or lower monster from your graveyard. Now we get to the brand new fusion monster for this deck. Dinomorphia Rexterm. Your opponent, this is actually a pretty good effect. Your opponent cannot activate the effect of monsters they control that have attack greater than or equal to your life points. So, just like what I said earlier, if your opponent has 1,000 or less life points, I mean, if you have 1,000 or less life points, once this card is on the field, they will not be able to activate their card effects. This is actually pretty handy when, in tight situation, once you're, like when you're up against Sword Soul and they have Barron De Fleur out, they won't be able to use this card's effect. So right now, I am running the card, I'm running this card's effect as much as possible, and you can pay for half your life points once this card is on the field, and the opponent's entire board will actually have equal to your life points. So if you have 500 life points divided by 2, and that's 250, everything on your opponent's current summon monsters will be 250 in terms of attack. But anything that follows, any monster that gets special summoned or normal summoned, after this card's run its effect, those cards will have their attack points the same as their original. So I strongly advise to use this card after your opponent has made their combo. And after this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon one level 6 monster or lower. So you can bring Kentragina back onto the field if in case Rexterm is destroyed. Now we go for its additional support. Again, this is not complete yet, so I'm going to have to try and fix this later on once I have more ultra rare gems. I run 2 copies of Dinowreslter Giga Spinosavate, because this card's effect is actually pretty handy when I need it. Your opponent cannot activate any spell or trap cards at the end of the damage step. They can only activate it at the end of the damage step, so this actually is pretty handy. Once you're in the battle phase, your opponent cannot target monsters for attacks except for this one. So this is actually the additional protection that I have mentioned earlier, because the Dinomorphia deck is lacking a little bit of protection, but this card will actually serve as that defense once, let's say, like your Dinomorphia Shell is down and out in the game. this card will actually help out a lot. And this actually has another effect. And you can target one monster your opponent controls, destroy it, and if this card would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can destroy one card you control instead. So you can actually throw fuel into the fire by throwing away Diplos, Therizia, or any monster that you have on the field to protect this card. So it's pretty handy. If I'm not mistaken, I think I was able to okay, here we go. Once per turn, you can target one monster your opponent controls, destroy it, but it doesn't negate their effect. So this actually is pretty handy to deduct the opponent's monsters on their side of the field. But for the last card here for my extra deck, I actually run Barron De Fleur as a means for additional protection. I'm not going to explain it because Baron De Fleur is a pretty common card to be used in a synchro deck as an additional protection, but it really depends on the player if they will run it. But I do strongly advise to run it because it can destroy one card on the field, and it also has a negate, which is pretty handy when it comes to protecting the Dinomorphias. So now that we have run the deck, I will be creating an updated deck list for this once I have more gems. Once this deck is complete, you will be seeing an updated video. But for now, I'm going to show you guys two gameplay videos that I have created for this from this particular deck. They're both wins and they got me up to gold 5. Okay, so right now I'm going to show you guys this deck. Oh no, I think I can't run this replay anymore, but I think I can run this one. So while this replay is running, I'm going to stay quiet for the meantime, so I hope you guys enjoy and let's rock. Alright, so yeah, that's actually how I run my Dinomorphia deck. I'm sad that I can't play this refill. It was actually pretty good. But I'll show you another. Oh no, I think I can't run replays anymore. So yeah, uh, a couple of things that I want to say before we wrap up. Uh, now that I've shown you guys what the Dinomorphia deck is all about, I'm going to try and do a live stream maybe this Thursday or Friday uh, and showcase the Dinomorphia deck a little more. But I am also running a. I'm going to try and build up a brand new deck, either Heroic Challenger or Sword Soul. I haven't actually completed building it yet. I'll show it to you guys soon. But right now, the Dinomorphia is my go-to. Aside from my old deck, which is the uh, which is my pendulum deck, I'm still going to run it, but I need a little more time to fix it again because there's actually brand new support for this deck. So I'm going to rebuild it later on. But once this is actually completed, I'll make sure to show you guys what it's all about, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it. Right now, I guess I'll wrap it up here. I hope you guys will have a good day, and I hope my audio is finally working. I can't really get the hang of getting the audio working for the love of all things. But I hope it's running right now and it's running smoothly. Hopefully it is. But yeah, I'll end this here. I'll see you guys next time. This is RGGStriker signing out. And I hope you guys will have a great day and stay classy.